Can Dortmund keep hold of Bellingham? FIFA put a ban on Brazil players, the latest from the World Cup qualifiers, and a transfer roundup all coming up on today's OneFootball Daily News. As I'm your host Angelina Kelly, let's get into it. So first up, and there have been so many different rumours about Borussia Dortmund players and where they might be playing their football next season. However, according to 90 Minutes, one player that they are certain that they want to try and keep hold of is Jude Bellingham. Now, of course, he had a brilliant breakthrough season last season as he made the move for about £25 million from Birmingham City to Dortmund. He featured for them in the Bundesliga and the Champions League before then making his break into the England squad for Euro 2020. And things have just got better and better for the player. So far this term, he's already managed 5 appearances, 3 assists and a goal for Dortmund. And what this means is that he is gaining a lot of interest from different clubs across Europe, particularly Premier League clubs. So the likes of Chelsea, Manchester City, Manchester United and Liverpool have all allegedly been in regular contact with the club about the player. Of course, before he actually made the move to Dortmund, it seemed like Manchester United wanted to sign the player, with even Sir Alex Ferguson taking the player around the training facilities that they have. But he made the switch to Dortmund and they certainly do not want to let him go without a fight. The Bundesliga team do not expect him to be one of the major outgoings in 2022, and according to reports, they have offered the player a new and improved contract that has allegedly been agreed. At the end of the day, you can't blame Dortmund for wanting to secure Bellingham. Of course, they lost Sancho in the summer. It looks like they probably will be losing Erling Haaland next summer, potentially to Real Madrid or different clubs, who knows. So yeah, it definitely makes sense that they want to get Bellingham to sign on the dotted line and to commit to the club. So 90 Minutes understands that regarding the new contract, his salary will increase to around £100,000 a week, and also with a mutually agreed clause in his contract that came into play once he turned 18 in the summer, he now will be at the club until 2025. If this is true, I think it's a great move from Dortmund, as of course they look to mount a sustained challenge on Bayern Munich's dominance in the Bundesliga, and a young player like Bellingham definitely fits the bill for them. He's already proven what he can do, and who knows what he could be capable of in the future, as he has got so much potential. However, I don't think that Premier League clubs will be giving up without a fight. I'm sure that they will still be testing the waters with Bellingham to see if they can perhaps lure the player away from the club. But for now, it seems like Dortmund are on the right track to keeping hold of the player. So next up, and of course earlier on in the week on the Daily News, we spoke about that World Cup qualifier between Brazil and Argentina, which was of course suspended after health officials in Brazil stated that certain Argentina players were basically not welcome on their soil. And now it seems like Brazil are actually ready to punish their own players that actually didn't travel for the international fixtures. Now, according to reports, FIFA can actually ban players that were not released for the international window, and this ban can be 5 days. Now, the Brazilian FA have asked FIFA to invoke this, as they're pretty upset of the fact that some Premier League clubs did not release players for the international fixtures, as of course, due to COVID-19 pandemic rules, they would have to isolate on return to the UK for 10 days, which would of course affect different Premier League clubs and their fixtures. So which Premier League players could actually be affected by this 5-day ban? So Alisson, Fabinho, Roberto Firmino and Rafinha are all players that could be affected, as of course Liverpool and Leeds are set to face each other on Sunday. Actually, Leeds United have spoken about Rafinha and his decision to not head to Brazil for the international fixtures. They did give him the option, but he decided to stay with Leeds. Meanwhile, for Manchester City, both Ederson and Gabriel Jesus could miss out on their fixture against Leicester, and for Chelsea and Manchester United, Thiago Silva and Fred could not feature for the club, as of course they not only have Premier League fixtures at the weekend but also Champions League games on Tuesday. And in addition to this, associations from Chile, Mexico and Paraguay have also logged complaints, which means that the likes of Watford, Wolves, Newcastle and Blackburn could also lose out on players for 5 days. However, the best bit of this story is that the Brazilian FA have actually reportedly turned around and said that they don't want Richarlison to have to face this ban, as they have a really good relationship with Everton and are really grateful for the fact that they allowed him to play not only in the Olympics but also in Copa America. This simply marks further deterioration between clubs and FIFA, and if clubs do not listen to FIFA and they allow some of these players to actually perform, then FIFA could impose a forfeit of a 3-0 defeat. The good thing for Premier League clubs is that they are talking to other associations, other clubs, other nations, etc., and the European Club Association are backing them and are hoping that they will get an answer in the next 24 hours as to what is actually going to happen and if this ban will take place. The ECA have spoken out and they have have stated that it is maybe a little bit unfair of FIFA that they are being so strict with this. Perhaps there should be a little bit of leniency, considering the only reason that these players did not travel was because of a global pandemic. And also, in addition, you have to remember that FIFA are the body that decided that players would not be exempt from isolation rules. So hopefully we'll get to see an answer to this situation. It really would be a shame if players do not manage to perform and teams potentially miss out on some of their key players. And next up, of course, the final games of the World Cup qualifiers this month took place last night, and again there were some great goals and some great results. For Germany, they got a 4-0 win over Iceland. They are sitting pretty comfortable at the top of their table, and life with Hansi Flick has seemed pretty good as they got some great results. However, I don't think you can really compare this, as no disrespect to the teams that they've been playing, but they're not really on the same level as Germany, and it will be interesting to see how they fare when they face stronger opposition in the future. Meanwhile, Spain, Italy and Belgium all got wins, and yes, it was another win for Italy. They are undefeated now for 37 games. Moise Kean had a great game for the nation, and they actually, for the first time in their history, managed to score 4 goals in 30 minutes. And meanwhile, for England, they unfortunately were held to a 1-1 draw with Poland. Now, all is not lost, of course. They're still at the top of their group. They're one step closer to Qatar, but it wasn't the best performance, really. There weren't that many chances. It seemed like Harry Kane's goal was the one that was going to stick, but in the final minutes, it was pretty painful for England, as Robert Lewandowski's cross managed to find the head of Damian Szymanski. For England, it probably did feel like a defeat, and Gareth Southgate has been criticised as for the first time for England since Euro 1996 when they faced Germany, they didn't actually make a substitution. So yeah, I think Gareth Southgate has got a few questions to answer. And now we have our transfer roundup. This is where I take a look at some of the other news and transfers going on in the footballing world. And first up, Juventus are reportedly eyeing a move for Ousmane Dembele next year, should he be available on a free, as currently Barcelona have not managed to agree a new contract with the player. And speaking of Barcelona, their president Joan Laporta has admitted that earlier on in the season they were trying to bring Neymar back to the club, and according to reports they made an offer to PSG of 80 million euros. And next, Fabio Carvalho is a player that Real Madrid and a host of Premier League teams have got their eye on, as the Fulham youngster has less than a year left on his contract. And finally, having fallen out of favour at Fenerbahce, it seems like Mesut Ozil is attracting a lot of attention from the MLS and Qatar. So that's all for today's OneFootball Daily News. As always, check out all the other content that we've got here, and until next time, I will see you all later.